This trip has been on my bucket list for so long. Flying to Vietnam in a premium economy because, oh my goodness, this flight is crazy. It is so long. One of the flights is the longest flight in the world from New York to Singapore. But this is when it really started to sink in that yes, we were indeed going to Vietnam. So we had a short layover in Singapore, but even with just a few hours, we made it out to Marina Bay to see the Super Tree light show and explore the gardens, which was totally worth it and worth the rush of trying to get there in between our flights. Yes, I am so sorry, family, for forcing you to go with me, but I'm sure you enjoyed it looking back now. After Singapore, we landed in Ho Chi Minh City, or as it was formerly known, Saigon. There is so much history here and there is so much to learn. I was traveling with my family and we booked through a travel agency, which meant private drivers, tours, and all of that was arranged between every city and hotel. It honestly made getting around Vietnam so seamless and stress-free. Our first few days were all about exploring the downtown core and really soaking in the energy of the city. Our days in Ho Chi Minh City were jam-packed. The next day, we headed over to the Independence Palace, which is such a historical landmark that you cannot miss. Even if you aren't a big history junkie, it's really cool to just go anyway. Then we headed to Book Street, which is such a fun street just to walk around and check out all the different stores before then heading over to the old post office, which is actually still in operation today. And of course, more temples. We headed over to some Buddhist temples and we also saw a pink church as we were driving over to a coffee and dessert location, which was such a must to take a break before heading over to another Buddhist temple. You will eventually get a little sick of all the temples. We also did a day trip to the Mekong River, which included a river canoe, local farms, honey tasting, and lunch in a small village. And to be totally honest, this wasn't one of my favorite activities. It felt a bit too touristy and inauthentic, and there was a ton of pressure to tip every single person, which there's so many activities, so you probably see like 20 plus people. And if you're short on time, I would personally recommend skipping it.
Tea and honey.
Next, we flew to Da Nang. And from Da Nang, we drove to Hoi An, which is honestly one of the most charming towns in Vietnam. There are so many, so I definitely will say this is one of the top. We stayed at Palm Garden Beach Resort, which ended up honestly being the most relaxing part of the trip. Out of the 3 weeks that we spent in Vietnam, we spent our days here on the beach and evenings exploring the lantern-filled streets of Hoi An. One of my favorite experiences and one of the well-known activities to do here is get custom clothing made. I personally had a pink dress tailored at Tina Design, and I actually wore it to my friend's wedding in the Dominican Republic. If you're interested, make sure to check out that vlog. And funny enough, we also ended up eating sushi here 3 nights in a row at Hein Sushi Bar. It became our little spot. Highly recommend if you love eating raw fish. It's kind of crazy and funny to tell people that we went to Vietnam and we just ate a lot of sushi. But anyway, we also explored Hoi An, and the downtown core is so fun and exciting to walk at night, so you cannot miss that. After Hoi An, we flew to the north to Hanoi, and this ended up being one of my favorite cities in Vietnam. If I could only recommend one region to visit, it would 100% be the north. Bathtub with a view. And the room. On the 3rd floor of an extremely busy road. Doesn't seem as busy now, but it was a lot busy when we just got here. Little fit check. Dresses from Vietnam. And when we were in Hanoi, we spent majority of our time in the Old Quarter. And this is where we visit the Note Cafe, where I left my own little sticky note, haha, at Brennan, and explored the famous Nikon Sun Temple. There is so much to see in Hanoi, so you definitely cannot miss it. And every single night, we would head back to our hotel rooftop, which honestly had the most stunning views of the city. And it was perfect for watching the organized chaos of Hanoi's traffic below. Once you stay here for a day, you will realize that crossing the street is a mission. You can move to Vietnam and live there as long as you can cross the street. The next day, we headed over first to the Imperial Citadel, which is such an iconic landmark and area that you can't miss this. I think we ended up traveling to Vietnam during everyone's graduation because there was another graduating class taking some photos, and all the children were so fun and were asking to take photos of us, so that was really cute. And then we headed over to the Temple of Literature before heading over to coffee at this cafe called Hidden Gem Cafe, and it's definitely foreshadowing with that train image. And we drove down the ceramic mosaic Merle Road before then heading over to, yes, you guessed it, another temple. Although there are many temples, they are each typically unique. We tried to go to a lot of the ones that were unique and had specific landmarks that were more interesting than others, but I will say you aren't going to be missing out if you don't go to all of the temples because there are many. And then we headed over to the iconic Ho Chi Minh's mausoleum, and this is a really interesting area. You actually have to get checked by security before walking in. It's a massive area that you can walk around. when you are also here, one of the major highlights is the train. You literally will be at a cafe and this train drives straight beside you. It is the most frightening but exciting thing at the same time, but everyone was very strict to make sure that you weren't sticking your hands out or being stupid, but highly recommend you. So after Hanoi, we headed to Mai Chau, where we stayed in an Ecolodge, which was surrounded by rice fields. Biking through the local villages was honestly one of the highlights. It felt so peaceful and authentic. The views while you're biking are insane. You're literally surrounded by rice fields. Trying to bike and hold a camera is not easy. Ah! I'm gonna fall. Highly recommend coming up, not specifically to Mai Chau, but you have to come up to the north and check out the rice fields and go to a specific Ecolodge. I recommend going to multiple. A little rainy. We were supposed to do a hike, but there's another road that we were driving down and it takes you to a trail between the two valleys, and it's raining. I don't know if you can actually tell if it's raining or not, but anyway, since it's raining, we turned around and we drove all the way back almost to where we were staying before at the last Ecolodge, and then we had to drive down this super windy road that I didn't actually end up getting any videos, and it's so foggy you can't see anything anyway. So yeah, we didn't do the hike and we drove all the way back. Now we're at the next Ecolodge. Maybe we're doing a hike. Probably not though, because it's raining so much. And then we're gonna go on a bamboo raft to a waterfall tomorrow.
Got my ginger tea. I'm recording a video. It's quite loud. You smashed. Okay, we get it.
And after Fulong, which honestly we were bittersweet to leave because of all of the rain, we then headed over to Ninh Binh, which is often referred to as Halong Bay on land. Here is where we took the iconic river and cave tour. In case you're curious how warm it is, I'm wearing it. light winter jacket. It's like 5 degrees. It's like my spring fall jacket, so it's kind of chilly. Whoa, I have a really good night camera. Look at this one. And we also climbed to the top of the Mao Cave, where you can see those famous dragon statue views and also all of the iconic landscape from above. It's honestly mostly stairs, but keep in mind it is extremely crowded, but the view at the top is absolutely worth it. You have to check it out.
Friggin' massive room.
Then we headed on to Ha Long Bay, which is such a finale of a trip. I highly recommend spending multiple days here. On our way there, we stopped at a pearl making factory, which was interesting to see, but honestly, again, a bit of a touristy trap. We then finally boarded a smaller boat that took us out to our cruise ship, which is the Nostalgia Cruises Ha Long, which we actually were upgraded to for free. This was amazing.
Queen 202. Damn. Look at that shower. 2 twin beds. Then we have our own little balcony. Some complimentary drinks.
The cruise was insane and so luxurious. I highly recommend taking a cruise specifically with Nostalgia. Their service and food, everything was 10 out of 10. I really want to go back and do it all again. Ending the trip with a Ha Long Bay cruise was perfect. It was the highlight of the entire journey. The views, the food, the service, everything was completely unforgettable. Highly recommend. Vietnam truly surprised me. From the peaceful countryside to the vibrant cities, it's a country that's totally full of contrast, culture, and connection. Thank you so much for watching this vlog, and stay tuned for so many more videos soon, not just of travel, but of personal growth, wellness, entrepreneurship, and everything in between. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, be sure to leave a comment and a like. It helps out my channel a lot, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks so much.